Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar introducing the two bachelor programs at Stockholm School of Economics. My name is Simone Westergård, and I'm going to lead this session today together with a brilliant group of colleagues and students. I would like to start by introducing the students, and could you please share with us just your name, where you're from, and what program you are in? Erina, you could start.
Hello, everyone. We're so happy to be here today with all of you. You can see it on the screen, but my name is Erina. I'm a second-year bachelor student in the retail management program. I was born and raised in Athens, Greece, and I moved here approximately a year and a half ago to study at SSE.
Thank you. Alessandro.
Hi everyone. Yes, just like Erina, I'm a second-year student, so I arrived in Stockholm about 1.5 years ago. But I'm in the program of Business and Economics. As you can hear, you can read my name is Alessandro, and as you can also hear from my accent and read from my name, I come from Italy. I was born in a city just next to Milan. If there's an Italian, it's called Gallarate, maybe you know it. And I'm happy here to share with you my experience a little bit and maybe inspire you for your future choices.
Thank you. And Tove.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Tove, and I'm also a second-year business and economics student, and I'm from a northern town in Sweden called Sundsvall, and I've lived in Stockholm for approximately 5 years now.
Thank you. And in the back of this webinar, we have my colleagues supporting us throughout this 1.5 hours. My colleague Per will be managing the chat and all the technical aspects of this Zoom session. And you will also be able to chat with my colleagues from the admissions team. So that is Camilla, Sofia, and Ebba. This is today's agenda. We're going to start with an introduction to Stockholm School of Economics and, of course, the programs we offer. You will get to know Alessandro, Tove, and Erina even better through their own student stories and their own presentations. And then we're going to end this session with the application requirements and how you apply to Stockholm School of Economics. And we're going to go through the international application requirements first, and then we're going to move over to the Swedish application requirements. And that session will be held in Swedish. So that's the last point of today. During the whole session, you could chat with the admissions team, and you do that using the Q&A box that you see in the bottom of your screen. So to chat with the admissions team, use the Q&A box. One more small little thing before we start. Please keep your microphones muted. And I also want to inform you that this webinar is being recorded. If you move to Stockholm to start your studies, you will find a vibrant, cosmopolitan, cultural, and beautiful city. This drone photo shows that Stockholm is built on 14 islands, and there's literally water everywhere. We usually say that Stockholm is green, clean, and walkable. Stockholm has been named or been called the most innovative city in Europe, and sometimes even the Silicon Valley of Europe. But this is true. In Stockholm, you find a lot of startup hubs, startup companies, and it is a hub for fintech companies as well. Moving here as an international student, you will also find that English is well spoken everywhere, all through the society. Stockholm School of Economics, or SSE as we say, is an international business school located in Stockholm. We were founded in 1909, and we are a private institution, actually the only truly private higher education institution in Sweden. We have been ranked the #1 business school in the Nordic countries for more than 20 years in a row. And this year, our startup incubator, the SSE Business Lab, was ranked number 7 in Europe. SSE is a very small university. We only have 2,000 students, but the student population represents more than 80 nationalities. All the programs that we offer are fully taught in English, and our educational mission FREE stands for nurturing graduates that are F, fact and science-based, R, reflective and self-aware, the first E, empathetic and culturally literate, and the last E, entrepreneurial and responsible. A big part, important part of who we are is the close connection to the business society. So SSE has more than 100 corporate partners that are all involved in the education that SSE offer. With all these corporate connection and all the corporate partners comes also high employability for our students. And we know that more than 90% of our bachelor students have a job within 3 months after graduation. Here you could see some of those corporate partners that I mentioned, and you find them in 3 major sectors. The first one is the consulting industry, where you find companies as BCG, McKinsey, EY, and Deloitte. Also the banking and finance sector with companies as Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Deutsche Bank, but also the Swedish banks like SEB, Handelsbanken, and Nordea. Important are, of course, also the global industrial companies. Here you have Google, H&M, Ericsson, Mitsubishi, Scania, and ABB. And we cannot talk about SSE and being a student at SSE without talking about student life and the student association. SSE is one of the more active associations in the Nordic region, and I shouldn't be talking about this, should I? I hand the word over to you, Erina. I know that you are, since just a couple of weeks, elected a board member of SSE. Please share a little bit about student life.
Thank you, Simone. I echo you 1,000%. Life at SSE wouldn't be the same without SSE. As is pretty obvious, SSE stands for the Student Association at the Stockholm School of Economics. And for a month now, I've had the honor to step on as a SSE board member. It's 11 of us, and I'm the Education Committee President. In SSE, there is something for everyone, from sports to education to business to social aspects. It's not only, of course, banquets and maybe nice parties, but we have a theater team, Handelsdagarna, the biggest financial career fair in the Nordics. We have the sports committee, we have the social committee. It's a great place to get your mind off studies. And actually 98% of the SSE student body is a SSE member. There's something for everyone, and everyone is having great fun being part of the association.
Thank you. And you will, of course, share more about student life in your own presentation later on.
Of course.
Yes, thank you, Erina. Maybe you have had the opportunity to visit SSE at Sveavägen in Stockholm. This picture is the main building. As you see, it's located just close to a big green park, and this is just a 5-10 minutes walk from the downtown of Stockholm. I'm now going to take you on a small digital campus tour. We are constantly developing our campus to be a hub for creativity, for collaboration, and for well-being. Campus is infused with art, and we want to create a study environment that is not only beautiful and inspirational, but we also want it to be creative and welcoming. Every year we invite artists to decorate our classrooms, and when you walk through campus, you will find video installations and sculptures and colorful corridors. You will find a grand piano and art books. This last picture is not from the SSE campus, because this is the Stockholm City Hall, the same place where the Nobel banquet is held every year. And this is a picture from one of our graduation ceremonies. So when you graduate a program at SSE, this is where you will receive your diploma. Okay, down to business. Let's talk a little bit about the two bachelor programs that we offer at Stockholm School of Economics. It's the bachelor program in business and economics and the bachelor program in retail management. And let's start with business and economics. This program gives you a solid foundation within the field of business and economics. It sets you up for a successful career in leading position, and we describe it as a broad, deep, and highly flexible program. During your studies, you will develop your strategic, analytical, problem-solving, and self-reflection skills. You will gain in-depth understanding of the economic factors that affects both our society and our organizations, and how those factors can be influenced to reach a desired goal. As a student in this program, you will also develop a deeper understanding and an economic perspective on different global challenges, such as sustainability, climate crisis, and international conflicts. You can see on the screen that during the 3 first semesters, you take mandatory courses in a wide range of subjects. It is, for example, economics, finance, marketing, management, entrepreneurship, and sustainability. The second half of the program, that is semester 4, 5, and 6, it's the time when you can customize your degree through choosing 1 or 2 specializations in the subjects that you previously studied. On top of the specializations, you could choose from a wide range of elective courses, and here you could choose completely based on your interest. During the 3rd and last year, you can go on an exchange semester. We have more than 100 partner universities, or you could do a 16-week internship course. And before you graduate, you write your bachelor thesis. Companies and organizations, for example, our corporate partners, are present throughout the program, offering guest lectures, live business cases, and different kind of projects where you bridge theory and practice. Before we move on talking about specialization and electives with Tove and Alessandro, I would like to highlight 2 courses that you see in the mandatory part. It is the Business and Economics Reflection Series and the Global Challenges courses. Alessandro, would you like to start to share with us what are these courses? If you start with Global Challenges, what kind of course is that?
Well, thank you, Simon, for the question. Well, as you can hear from the name, you have 2 courses all revolving around the global challenges of nowadays, which is such a broad term because you cover from, and Simon already mentioned some of them, sustainability, inequalities, then you have all the geopolitical struggles we are currently facing, and global challenges not only gives you a practical insight into these global challenges of nowadays, but gives you tools to break them down, to rationalize them, and then potentially to solve them one day. You have a first course which is more introductory and introduces you to these theories and the first application of it, while the second one is more on the self, how you can develop yourself to then solve these global challenges one day when you will become a leader.
Thank you. Tove, would you like to share a little bit about the reflection series? What kind of course is that?
Yes, of course. So the reflection series is 6 sessions spread out throughout the first 3 semesters, where we have a preparatory assignment that we write where we reflect upon different aspects, and these reflections can have a wide range. It can be about art, it can be about fairness, it can be about pretty much anything. And what I really enjoyed when I had mine was that the student group that we were able to influence what we were gonna reflect upon throughout the series. So that was really nice, and it really just is a nice way to sit down and gather your thoughts down to paper, which you might not really do that much in all of the other courses. So it's a nice contrast.
Thank you. And Tove, and both of you, Tove and Alessandro, you're both in your second year, semester 4. So you just chose your or you started your specializations. Tove, what did you choose? What subject to specialize in?
Yes, so I'm doing accounting and management. So I've just finished the first courses, and I really like that it's a mixture of more like a reasoning in the management, and then accounting is more maybe square and like, oh, calculations, do this and you're correct.
So you like that mix. You picked two
Yeah.
and then you have that mix kind of. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Alessandro, what specializations are you in currently?
I chose two different specializations. I chose the one in economics and the one in finance, and I just finished the first courses of both of them. And I really like these courses because they were quite quantitative. On finance about investment management, while economics, it was an econometrics course. And so I really like how they blend also within each other because you use economics, understanding and theories also to understand finance, and it goes in both directions. So I really like the broad overview that it can give you.
And in this program, on top of the specialization or specializations that you choose, you also pick elective courses. And this is now a pretty heavy slide, but it shows the wide range of subjects that you can choose. Tove, what have you picked?
I didn't choose any electives this term.
Okay.
But I have looked at the elective list. So one that I'm unfortunately not going to be able to take because I'm going to be away next term, but it is the happiness and well-being course, which is a very popular one. But that unfortunately is only available during the fall semester. But that was one that I would really like to go otherwise.
Okay. And Alessandro, have you picked any of the elective courses?
Yes, I chose one elective course on top of the specialization, so you can find it on the very right. It's Advanced Business French, which the language courses, I think it's important to highlight. I mean, you have a very wide range from French, German, Spanish, and even Swedish for international students, and those are courses that cover a whole semester, and it's not just one period.
Tove, you're going to be away next semester, you said. Is that for an exchange?
Yes.
Okay, let's get back to the exchange in just a moment, because I want to stop for a second at one of these elective courses that you could take, and that's the Civica Engage track. So if you are a student in the Business and Economics program, you can choose the Civica Engage track. And Civica is an alliance of 10 European universities. And what you do if you're part of this is that you take one elective course at SSE, and then you take one course at one of the partner universities, and you see the list here. So for example, you could go to London School of Economics or to Bocconi in Italy. And this is a great opportunity for students with a strong civic engagement. And after these two courses that you take, one at SSE and one at a partner university, you travel to one of these universities for 1 week, working on a case project together with students from all the other European universities. So this is a great way of doing exchange if you don't do exchange through the exchange program at SSE. And this is what you are going to do, Tove. Tell us, where are you going?
Yes, exactly. So we're in the middle of the process. So I just need to finalize the process. But if everything goes as planned, I'm gonna go to Ireland this fall to Trinity College.
Wow. So this is, of course, in the Business and Economics program, a big opportunity during the last year to do an exchange semester abroad. Cool. And Alessandro, are you thinking about exchange?
Yes, I'm also currently in the process. I just have to submit in the next days my application. And if everything goes well, I'm going to be in Japan, in Tokyo, from September until January. So it's going to be like 5 months of completely different culture, which I'm really looking forward to.
Wow, cool. I keep my fingers crossed that you get the exchange that you applied for. Thank you so much for sharing. And of course, Tove and Alessandro will share more about their stories, and you could also chat with them and ask them questions about the program later. Let's move on to the retail management program. This is your program, Erina. So the retail management program combines a strong academic foundation with deep collaborations with the retail industry. You could say that this program is designed for ambitious students who want to understand how businesses are created, how they are scaled, and how they are transformed. It will prepare you as a student for leadership roles in dynamic and fast evolving sectors such as the retail industry. As a student in this program, you will develop your analytical skills, your strategic thinking, and you will gain the practical experience needed to understand and to shape consumer-focused businesses. As you see on the screen, the program follows a set 3-year structure, and this structure largely consists of mandatory courses. The courses are carefully combined to provide you with both retail-specific content and the content that students normally receive at a business school. The program is rooted in business and economics, and the curriculum gives you a strong foundation in marketing, strategy, and financial management, while using retail and consumer businesses as its applied area. So industry collaboration is at the core of this program. In the last year of the retail management program, you do 2 bigger assignments. First, the company project, and then, of course, you write your bachelor thesis. If you want to go on exchange, there are a few spots for students interested in a semester abroad. As you can see also on this slide, the students in the retail management program, they participate in 3 integrated tracks that run in parallel to the course throughout the 3 programs. You have the applied retail track, where students work directly with the leading companies on real business challenges. And this is where you as a student apply the theory that you've studied into live cases and to real strategic projects. You also have the Antonia Axelsson Jonsson tutorial program, which is a personal development track with mentorship programs and small group discussions. And you have the Prompt Fridays. These are hands-on workshops that teach the students how to use AI tools, how to analyze data, and how to automate tasks. The most important, and I would maybe also say characteristic of the retail management program is the first one, the applied retail track. And this is where the students work with our corporate partners in the retail clubs. Erina, please go ahead. I leave the word to you. Can you explain the applied retail track and how you work with the companies and how that is integrated into the program?
Absolutely. Thank you, Simone. Overall, the retail management program is a more specialized program, as already Simone talked about. It's more of a hands-on program. Therefore, since the first day you join it, you get to experience firsthand actual company world experience. Personally, in my first year, I was in the Accenture Retail Club. And in your second year, you get to rank your preferences amongst all these retail clubs. And then the faculty selects the students and allocates them based on their rankings. I personally ranked Axel Jonsson first, and I had the luck of getting my first choice. So now I'm working with Axel Jonsson. How this works is that every semester you have multiple workshops, company visits at their very own office with their very own employees and higher stake stakeholders. You solve cases and real actual issues that the companies face, and you get real life feedback on your work right then and there. Also, after every workshop, you get an assignment to fill in that goes directly to the company. So your work gets reviewed by the stakeholders themselves. Depending on the retail club you get, your workshops vary, of course. If you're more interested in fashion, H&M is the one for you. But if you're more interested maybe in management and consulting, then Accenture is the path you should follow. There's opportunities for everyone. And also there's constant lectures being held based on our subject of the period. For example, Synsam held a lecture about financial management, and everyone was there to learn from the actual company world. And in your last year, you get to pick again your retail club and do a very big project for them. And another very exciting opportunity regarding the retail clubs is that after your first year, you can be a key account manager. Basically the person that is the link between the company outside and the school. That's the student contact, and you can be a key account manager for any of these retail clubs that you see on screen, actually. And it's one of the most exciting things that we have in the retail program, in my opinion.
Can you give an example on one of these live case projects that you have done? What concretely
Totally.
have you done for Axel Jonsson or for Accenture?
Totally. I will mention, I think, my favorite one that we did recently in Axel Jonsson. We went to one of their partner firms, since, as you know, Axel Jonsson is a very big corporation. And we had to work on how to sustainably use wool in a profitable manner. So how to put it as a material in the retail industry effectively and profitably. And we were separated in groups. 4 groups got the wool case. We got to think, analyze, and present there to our entire student cohort. With Accenture, we had issues with AI, of course, how to integrate it, how to deal with it in the current state of the world as a more of a consulting company, and how to apply it maybe in other companies such as H&M. There is a lot of dialogue in between these companies during the retail track. So usually these workshops last 3 to 5 hours. And they're very, very insightful. First, you get to learn about the issue and the company itself, and then you apply your knowledge to solve a case, which is also, you get feedback right then and there.
What would you say, in your opinion, is the best with the retail management program?
Can you repeat, please?
What do you like the most with the retail management program? What's your favorite
I would
thing?
say, for starters, of course, the fact that it's more specialized due to what I want to do in the future. I went directly for the retail management program, so of course that is there. But I think the fact that the retail program is a bit of a smaller cohort creates great unity amongst the student body. There is a lot of group work, and also due to the applied retail track, we get to interact with each other a lot. And I touch upon this a bit later in my presentation, but in SSE, you get to meet impeccable people that you know are going to do fantastic things in the future. And to be close with your classmates in such a way, to me, is very, very important, and exchange ideas. I didn't take economics in high school, someone else did. So to exchange ideas in such a way is very precious, and we all greatly appreciate it in my cohort.
Thank you, Erina. It's now time for student presentations. You have the opportunity to chat with the students and ask them questions. Please use the chat function, since the Q&A box is only for the admission-related questions. If you want to ask the students anything after their presentations now, please put it in the chat. So, Alessandro, are you ready? I'll give the word to you.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Simon. Well, then, nice to meet you once again, everybody. So I just introduced myself at the beginning by repeating my name. It's Alessandro, and I'm a second-year student in the Business Economics program at the Stockholm School of Economics. Well, as you can see here, I prepared a little bit of a timeline featuring my past, my present, and then my future. So here is a little bit of my background. I was born and raised in Italy, in a city nearby Milan. and I attended a Italian public school. I did a liceo scientifico, so the scientific specialization in Italy, during which in my grade 12 I had the opportunity and luck of enrolling in an exchange year in Canada, in Chilliwack, a city just next to Vancouver. That was my first opportunity and experience abroad, far from home and in an international environment that I usually define as mind-opening and unrepeatable. After that, I graduated and I went back to Italy for my grade 13, but I didn't want to keep frozen my exchange opportunity, my exchange experience. So I wanted to give it a meaning and I wanted to pursue then a bachelor with another international opportunity. So that's why I started looking at universities abroad. And once I came across SSE and its website, I immediately fell in love with it. And not just because it was international, it was a small cohort, not similar to retail management, but it has 300 students per year in the business economics program, so relatively small compared to other universities, and that would facilitate as well the exchange of ideas. And on top of that, for European citizens, it is for free, which was a mix of all of these factors making me decide to join SSE. So on the 28th of August, on the actually 8th of August 2024, I still remember, I landed in Arlanda for my second time, actually, after I first visited Sweden. And I started SSE just a few weeks later. I had first an amazing experience during my intro week, during which, for example, I met Erina. She was one of the first people I met at SSE, honestly. And since then, all the journey started. And I could not even imagine what would happen just a few months far from there. So it is not just the quality of the program, the academic excellence, and the people that are around, but it's exactly those people, that exchange of ideas of anything, or if you're interested in history, philosophy, music, wherever, or sports, let's say, you can find at least one person to talk about those topics. But talking about those allows you to open your views and your mind, and then to start actually doing things, hands-on approach, which allows you to open to start projects, initiatives within SASE or even like outside if you wish. And for example, in the SASE, so in the Student Association, I started with other Italian students, an Italian society, which then is part of a larger network of Italian students abroad. And it is what gave me the most, I mean, so far, getting in contact with, for example, with the Italian embassy in Sweden, and other important stakeholders and professionals. Then I started also working alongside my studies at an Italian pizzeria. So when my friends, when I tell them this, they say, "Oh, you're such an average Italian abroad," but I am proud of being this. And it is another experience which I'm currently pursuing still, which has enriched me a lot as a person. And then I also had the opportunity to join a startup during my studies that does financial literacy for students in general and young people, which allowed me also to give another hands-on experience to my experience at SSE. And then again, just an overarching principle that I mentioned throughout this presentation so far were the people that joined me, not just outside of the studies, during the studies, doing the projects together that I just mentioned is something that really made the difference. And now, being halfway through my bachelor at SSE, I'm already thinking ahead. And in the next years, I have planned to keep studying in a master program in economics, to then start working at the European Central Bank, or in general with the European Union. Because when I think about what I've done so far and why I'm here at SSE, well, that is also thanks to the European Union and the institutions that create an environment such that I can join and I can enjoy these sort of opportunities. And so that is a way to sort of give back what I received. And then ultimately, to finalize this get back process, it would be to join the Central Bank of Italy one day, but that still has a long way to go. But well, this was everything from me, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation. And if you have any questions, I will be free to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessandro. Yes, any questions for Alessandro, you could put them in the chat, and hopefully we have a few minutes over in the end. We're moving on to Tove. It's now your turn.
Yes, so hello again, everyone. I'm gonna give you a bit of a run through of my life. So as I told you previously, I am from a town called Sundsvall. So I am the youngest daughter of three siblings, but although I'm turning 24 this year, up until last year, I was actually the youngest person in my whole family, like cousins included and everything. So I've always been the youngest until a year ago when my cousin got a little boy. So I'm very happy about that. And also, except from that, if you count my dog as another sibling, of course, that's also someone younger than me. But since 2018, my family has had a dog. And I love everything that has to do with hosting. So cooking, baking, anything. If I'm allowed to host a dinner, I jump at the opportunity. And during my free time, I spend a lot of time watching sports because my boyfriend is a sports fanatic. And other than that, I am most likely sleeping. And this picture my boyfriend actually took when we were on a cruise. And as you can see, I was in bed by 9:30. So I'm not that much of a party person. But my journey to SSE looked a bit different. So straight out of high school, I applied and started the law program at Stockholm University, where I studied for about 1.5 years before I realized that it wasn't really the fit for me. I didn't feel like it was what I wanted to do with my life. And since it was 3 years left, I thought might as well do a bachelor for 3 years with something that I'm actually interested in. So I started working while I waited for my acceptance to SSE. And the first year I applied, I was waitlisted. So I had like number 300 something in line, not even an opportunity of getting in because not that many rejects their acceptance. So until the next application period, I applied through Alternativt Urval, where about 10% is accepted each year, and that got me accepted in 2024. So in August 2024, I started at SSE. And my journey at SSE has been just ups and downs, I would say, going into studying again after being in a corporate world for 1.5 years is kind of a transition. But if there's anywhere I would like to do it, it's SSE. And I really like all the different kind of aspects of teaching, that it's both individual work with assignments, but it's also a lot of group works, which I really like because I learn the best with hands-on experience. And of course, also all the fun activities surrounding the studies with SASE and just the general post-exam celebrations that come across the whole class and cohort. And also, I really like the possibility to have gain hands-on experience with real companies. So, like now in my management specialization, we are working directly with a company and actually implementing ideas that they can implement in their strategies, which really makes the work more meaningful. So yeah. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them in the chat. And otherwise, if you come up with questions later, you have my email on the screen as well. So feel free to reach out and I will answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Tove. And then, Erina, you're up.
Hello, everyone. My name is Erina, as you can see on the first slide, and maybe just a picture I should put on LinkedIn at some point. I mentioned this a bit earlier, but I was born and raised in Athens, Greece. Although I do have a very big part of my family that's been born and raised in Sweden, actually, hence why I'm here. I've been here pretty much every summer and winter of my life. I've always loved this place and I came to study. I am 20. I was born 2006, so I did not take a gap year. I worked a bit in finance before I came into SSE, and as long as I got my offer, I accepted and moved, which was same as Alessandro and Tove in 2024. My main hobby is music, I would say. I used to play a lot of music, I listen to a lot of music, and I just put my favorite songs of the period for you if you'd be interested in that. I love being with my friends. I love being with my family. And in SSC, actually, I've made some of the most meaningful connections of my life. And I greatly appreciate that. And also, I really like animals and dogs. This is my dog. He's now 16. So that picture, it's been a few years since he looked that well. But yeah, I really, really love him. So going on a more specific note regarding my SSC life. Alessandro touched upon it a bit, but in SSC you get top graded education, which I feel like you are aware of that already. Whatever you choose to study, whether that's a bachelor program or a master program later on, you are guaranteed of the best education possible. It is remarkable in your field and it's truly impeccable. In terms of student life, I touched upon it earlier, and I will expand a bit further now as we talked with Simone. SASE is the core of student life in SSC. SASE is a huge student body consisting of 8 fully functioning committees and the presidium. There's a SASE president, the vice president, treasurer, and 8 committees. And as I mentioned that earlier, I'm the president of one of those 8 committees. My work mostly surrounds educational surveillance, making sure that education on a student level is monitored and well handled. There are, for example, if you're interested in tech initiatives and AI, there's a tech committee. If you're a sports person, there is a sports committee. If you're more of a social and event person, there is a social committee. If you're an international student, we have the international committee, which Alessandro also brought up as part of Italian society. There's so many initiatives, and it's truly amazing to be part of it. You don't have to have a very high commitment role to be part of SASE. For example, I'm doing this full time. I'm taking a year off to be president of the education committee. You don't have to. You can be part of only the events, just attend them. You can host them. You can watch them from the sidelines. It's truly an amazing place to be. And in terms of new connections, again, we have talked about this earlier, but in SSC, you will get to meet remarkable people, whether that means your classmates or whether that means people from the industry. There's constantly lunch lectures held, as well as company visits in the school, which you get to meet and network with. I really remember vividly from my first year, we got to meet the CEO of Grant Thornton, as well as Axel Jonsson, during the first 2 weeks of my studies, which was a great shock, as you can probably imagine. And it just keeps getting better and better from then on. You will get to meet fantastic people around you, and that's also very, very important. In both programs, there's a lot of group work, a lot of collaboration, a lot of idea exchange. You get to grow pretty much. There's an opportunity at every corner in this building, and it's very important to seize it. It's a great milestone that you realize you're stepping on every course you change. So it's a great place to be.
Thank you. Per, what does it look like in the chat? Do we have any questions for the students? I think we have a couple of minutes for this.
Yes, thank you, Simone. And thank you to Erina, Tove, and Alessandro as well for your wonderful presentations. Yes, so we did get some questions in the Q&A for the admissions team regarding the exchange semester, but then also a specific question for Alessandro, because you talked about going to Tokyo. So basically, the question is, how competitive is it basically if you want to get that exchange slot in Tokyo, and in general, like how does the process work when you apply for an exchange semester?
Okay, so first to answer just competitive and then I bridge onto more the application requirements. Tokyo specifically is considered as quite competitive as it only offers 2 spots in the fall semester, but there are many other universities clearly around the world that offer more spots, both during the fall and the spring, because you can choose which period you would prefer to do your exchange. And there are some universities that have like 6 7 spots or even more. So one thing to note is that many students, 200 students per year more or less, have the opportunity to go on exchange in the various partner universities, and the applications usually open in January of your second year. So you're the beginning basically of your fourth semester, end of third, the beginning of fourth. And then in February of the same year, of the same period, you get a notification on your exchange outcome. What are the requirements? Well, you don't need like any requirements really, as you're already enrolled and you took your exams, you are eligible for exchange. And just to get a little bit more technical, you will have to send in your transcript, how many courses you took, because there will be made a weighted average of your GPA based on your study pace as well, which is how many courses you took so far. And then that will set you in a percentile range of 10 different percentiles, depending on first 10%, then 20%, and so on. And then within that group, based on your SASE credits, which is how much you've been involved in SASE, maybe Erina can tell a little bit more about it, because it's the education committee that deals with this. You can choose 2 of your activities, and then you get some extra point to get reshuffled within your range, and then you get a rank. Then you choose 5 universities you would like to go to, and then the exchange team, the global opportunities team at SSE tries to accommodate the opportunities that you are going to go to enjoy based on your ranking. And then you will have to go through a more formal application process with the university that is going to be your host university. And that
Great.
is after you've been allocated. That's like what Tove and I are doing, for example.
Perfect. Thank you so much for clarifying that, Alessandro.
You're welcome.
And then, so this might be then for perhaps Tove and Erina, since you're in different programs as well. So basically, how does a regular week look? So perhaps not when you're in SASE Erina, but more like when you're just a regular student in the program. Like, how does the schedule look? And also, like, is it possible to work part-time on the side of the studies and so on? Like, what do people usually do?
Yes, I think it's what you make of it. Of course, for a school of such level, the workload mirrors that. You will have to work a lot, you will have to study a lot, you will have to try a lot. Everyone here is striving for excellence, so it takes a lot of time. However, there is absolutely a balance. This does not take every single hour of your life under no circumstances. You can absolutely combine a part-time job and your studies. I know people actually that are working full-time. The only tricky thing about full-time is that you have to make a few sacrifices here and there during your program. That's why I'm kind of emphasizing part-time here. Everyone, of course, makes their own schedule. Some people like studying an hour a day for 3 months. Some people like studying 10 hours a day for 2 weeks. It really depends on what you want to do, but it's definitely manageable. And definitely your first period here, your first few courses are the introduction to you finding your own study style and pace, seeing what works best for you and what truly helps you. It's very important to keep in mind that rest is super important. Without rest, no outcome is really ideal. So it's definitely manageable. People do work. Fun fact, majority of my class actually has a part-time job. So it's very much manageable. It just takes a lot of, not even a lot, it just takes good scheduling, whatever is convenient for everyone specifically, honestly. As long as you have that, you will be perfectly fine. I personally study approximately 3 hours a day. And from then on, I make my own schedule and I judge what I want to do.
Thank you so much, Erina. Tove, do you have anything to add to that as well?
Yeah, no, I think the business economics program is structured kind of the same way. So you have a certain amount of scheduled activities like lectures and seminars, where lectures are pretty much always like not non-mandatory, so you can choose if you want to attend them or not. And then some courses have different requirements regarding seminars, so they can be mandatory or not. But yeah, I would say that mostly your maybe scheduled time is like not even half the week, and then you need to schedule everything else yourself. So yeah, and like Erina said, there's a lot of people that work part-time. I'm currently working part-time, so it's definitely manageable, and it's also just based on how you need to basically base it off how you are as a person, what works best for you, what are your ambitions, what are your goals with the whole program. So I think it's very adaptable, depending to each person and what you want to achieve.
Let me just jump in here, because this is exactly what you say. This is usually what students highlight as the biggest difference between high school studies and university studies. So no matter if you're an international high schooler or in a Swedish gymnasium, you are scheduled when you're in high school kind of 8:30 till 3 or something, and you have your classes, and it is the same every week and every day. University, SSE, but also other universities, they build the structure differently. So you are scheduled sometimes and different courses, different days, you could have a day with no scheduled classes, but then of course that is time for you to study. So the responsibility that you need to plan and schedule and be responsible yourself, this is really the biggest difference between high school and university, no matter what high school and no matter what university, but this would be the biggest difference.
All right, so Simon, do we have time for another question?
Yes, one more question for the students. Then we need to move on.
Yeah, so pretty short answers. So for all three of you students, so the question was, I'm curious about the most expensive thing you've learned in the program. So, or make that like the most interesting or surprising thing. So what is the biggest takeaway so far? Who wants to start? Alessandro? Yes.
Oh yeah, okay, I can start. Well, I think it's not like really one thing, but it's in general, the feeling of, as Erina mentioned it briefly, of anytime you take a lesson or anytime you finish a course, you feel like you developed. That is the most striking thing. The thing is that you don't just learn for the sake of it, or because you get done like 3 years and then you have to start working somehow. Is the fact that really like you feel that your mind is being shaped, and you're starting thinking about like daily things even within in a specific way that is taught, I think, very well at the university. That is the most striking thing that I felt.
I agree with Alessandro, and I would say as well, I've mentioned it now a few times, but when I talk about the people that you meet, it's not always positive. Sometimes you will have trouble with a group that you have to work with, or with something you don't understand in a course. I think the most important lesson I've learned in the school is understanding, whether that is a group member that doesn't do necessarily their work, or disagreeing with someone about what should we do in this assignment, having completely different ideas, because sometimes, or maybe most of the time, you will disagree. Truly what prepares you for the outside world, while you will use accounting, is learn to understand, evaluate, and oversee a situation from like non-stereotypical perspective. And that is of great importance. It will be a challenge in the first few months. You might be tempted to just work with your friends, because why not? I know we're going to get a good grade. But at the end of the day, it's all about getting exposed to challenges and overcoming them. And to me, that has been the most powerful lesson. And I'm telling this from like experience. I've had challenging group works, and they're all now my very close friends. So this is kind of, if I were to summarize it in a sentence, this is probably the thing I cherish the most of my time here.
And yeah, I can just agree with what both Alessandro and Erina said, and just building upon like understanding. I think the greatest part is also the understanding that you get of yourself, because you learn so much about yourself, like not just about what study method to use or what courses you find the most interesting, but you've learned so much about yourself and developed so much internally. So I would really say that's the best thing. And that's like where the reflection series is a really good part of that aspect.
Thank
you
you for
so much.
sharing. Yes, thank you. Beautiful answers. We will now move on, and we will go again, maybe down to business and talk about how you apply to the bachelor programs at Stockholm School of Economics. There is two routes to apply, either if you're an international student or if you're a Swedish student, and you apply at different times throughout the year and with the different requirements. So we will go through both processes, first the international one and then the Swedish one, so the national one, and that last part will be in Swedish. I also want to mention before we start with the international application round that this round is already finished for the fall of 2026. So deadline was already in January. So students that want to start SSE this coming fall 2026 and are international students, they have already applied. So you international student listening in now, you could apply to the fall 2027. So I just wanted to make that part clear. To start with, it is free of charge to study at SSE. The students mentioned this if you are an EU student. No tuition fees at all if you're from EU, EEA region, Swiss or Ukrainian. For all of you, it's free of charge. If you're from outside this region or from another country, a bachelor program at Stockholm School of Economics is 120,000 Swedish krona per year. So this is approximately 11,000 US dollars or euros. We do offer a few scholarships if you need to pay tuition fee. The scholarships cover 50% of the tuition, and you apply for the scholarships at the same time as you apply to the program. There is two main things as an international student that you need to apply to SSE. You need your high school diploma and you need a university test. Starting with a high school diploma, you can apply with your predicted grades, so in your last year of high school, or with your final diploma if you have already graduated. We will look at your overall score, so your IB score or your GPA. And important to remember here is that admission to SSE is highly competitive, and you usually need a higher score than the requirements. When it comes to subject requirements, we have two. It's a requirement for English and a requirement for math, and I will go through this a little bit more in detail on the next slide. So apart from your diploma, you also need to do a university admission test to apply to SSE. And we accept the SAT, the ACT, and the ITB business test. You could see the scores and the minimum scores to be able to apply. And again, high scores are favored. You can visit our website, hhs.se, how to apply. Then you have more details about the process and the requirements. On this slide, we have gathered the most common grading system. Again, I want to refer to our website, so hhs.se/diploma, because on this page you will see full details what goes for your exact diploma, because we do accept almost all national diplomas. So please visit this webpage to get an idea of what is required of you. But to give you then a couple of examples on how we look at the requirements and your diploma, the first example is the IB diploma. So the score required to apply is 31 out of 45. But again, it's highly competitive, so it's more realistic to look at a score 38 or above to get admitted. The two subject requirements, starting with English for an IB student, the requirement is English B standard level with a minimum grade of 4. For math, the requirement is applications and interpretation standard level, minimum grade 4. And then on top of this, of course, the university admission test that you chose. We prefer the SAT, that's the one we recommend, but one of the three. So minimum grades in these two required subjects and then the overall score of your diploma. Another example would be the US high school diploma, where the requirement is 3.5 out of 4. But again, realistically, to get admitted, we're looking at 3.8 and above. The English requirement for a US high school student would be 4 years of English in high school with a minimum grade D. And for math, the requirement would be pre-calculus, also with a minimum grade D. And then your university admission test. And this is the way we keep on going when we assess your different national diplomas. Of course, if you have a higher course, for example, if you're an IB student and you have done high-level English or high-level math, that is, of course, even better. But this is what goes for the minimum requirements. So, again, as an international student, the application for 2026 is already finished and over, but when you are applying for the fall 2027, this is the timeline. So international students, the application window opens in mid-October and it closes in the middle of January. And for international students, we do not have any rolling admissions. So take your time, gather your documents, make sure you have everything in order, and just make sure that you submit it before the deadline in the middle of January. If you meet all the requirements, there is an online interview in February, and then you will get your notifications in April. Something that is important for the international applicants is also that it is a two-step process to apply to SSE. You start the application in the portal universityadmissions.se. That is the Swedish national university application portal. So you start there, but your application is not complete until you also finish the second step on the SSE portal. So the SSE portal is called Full Fabric, and you need to finish that second step for your application to be complete. More detailed information about all of this is found on the website hhs.se, how to apply. We know that questions might come up whenever during this process. We have on our website a chat platform called Unibuddy. If you scan this QR code, you will reach these students' profiles. You could chat with them, ask them whatever questions you might have. And on this platform, you will also be able to chat with admissions staff. I've also seen that there is a lot of questions about the UK diploma. So there is a guide on our website specifically for A-level and UK students. So there is very thorough information for UK students on the website. So please look that guide. And we will maybe be able to post it in the chat as well, Per. Can we maybe do that, a link, before we end this webinar? Okay, Per, before we move on to the Swedish application round, apart from the UK questions, do we have any other questions in the chat that we need to focus on for international applicants?
A lot of questions about the UK curriculum, as you said, Simon. We did get a question that can be quite interesting for international students. So, can I ask whether Swedish employers are okay with SSE graduates who can only speak English? Alessandro touched upon this previously as well, that we actually offer some Swedish courses for international students, that we actually added several of them by request, basically, from the international students as well. So many internationals do want to learn Swedish. But what is your take? Since I guess you have been in contact with the companies, Alessandro and Erina. What's your take? Like, should people take some Swedish, or is that more like for fun, if you know what I mean? So please answer, like, just from your experience.
I think it depends a lot on the need, of course, of the student. If you want to remain in Sweden after for working, then it's highly recommended to take Swedish courses from when you arrive, start taking elective or even study before coming here. But just really briefly, how to greet people to begin with, just to integrate better within the culture. And then when it comes to employment, well, Sweden has a extremely high English proficiency, which allows you to work, I mean, potentially just in English, but as in any other country, of course, when you deal with the local market, then you have to use the local language, or it's highly preferred if you do. So it is very much advisable during your 3 years to learn Swedish. And it is definitely possible, especially if you speak like another Germanic language, then you are highly advantaged to do that as well.
Thank you so much, Alessandro.
I agree with Alessandro as well. For me personally, I didn't choose to do that because I already had an ex-Swedish knowledge, which was not covered by the courses offered. However, if you wish to learn Swedish, I think you should, for all the reasons that Alessandro named. And a kind note here as well that a lot of knowledge and everyday culture comes from the people. So make sure to interact with your Swedish classmates as well. It is very lucrative, like I'm Greek, to go find the other Greek students in the cohort, and we do have a great friendship. But it's important to also surround yourself with people that have lived in the culture you are now entering. Something I like to say is when you leave your comfort zone, you are at someone else's. So in order to learn that, you should surround yourself with Swedish people. But the courses are a great, let's say, support. Maybe you will not achieve full fluency, but that's kind of up to you after you integrate and experience everyday life. So I would also recommend the courses if you are in an introductory level of Swedish, for sure.
Thank
you so much.
Good clarification on that. Moving on then to the Swedish application round, and this will be this part of this webinar will be in Swedish, because now we're going to talk about how you, as a Swedish high school student, apply to SSE. So if you're an international student, please stay on and start practicing your Swedish, or otherwise you are free to leave the webinar at this point. If you do so, we hope that you enjoyed, that we inspired you, that we answered your question, and I keep my fingers crossed that I'll meet you on campus in a couple of years. Thank you for joining. Okej. Nu kör vi. Nu går vi över på svenska och vi ska prata om hur du som svensk gymnasieelev söker till Handelshögskolan. Jag märker hur jag får ställa om lite i huvudet själv här efter en timme på engelska. Behörighetskraven för er svenska studenter som har ett svenskt gymnasiebetyg och som vill söka nu till hösten 2026 ser ut så här. Du behöver ha minst C i ditt gymnasiebetyg i svenska 3, engelska 6, matte 3, samhällskunskap 1, historia 1 och moderna språk 3. Moderna språk 3, det gäller bara för Business and Economics-programmet. Så att om du vill söka till Retail Management-programmet så behöver du inte ha moderna språk. Det här är det som är grundläggande behörighet för att få söka till oss. Om du har läst meritgivande kurser så kommer det räknas med i beräkningen av ditt jämförelsetal. Och all information finns på vår webbsida på hhs.se/antagning. Så det här är grunden. Men sen finns det 3 andra sätt att söka till Handelshögskolan. Du kan göra högskoleprovet och får du ett riktigt högt resultat på högskoleprovet så kan du söka med det resultatet. Här vill jag understryka att du inte måste göra högskoleprovet för att kunna söka till oss. Det behöver man inte längre, utan om du har gjort högskoleprovet och vill använda det resultatet, då kan du göra det. Då krävs det att du har ett jämförelsetal utan meritpoäng på minst 17 och sen ditt högskoleprovsresultat. Sen finns det 2 sökvägar som är unika eller speciella för oss på Handelshögskolan och det är särskilda meriter och alternativt urval. Särskilda meriter, det är en sökväg för dig som har en framstående prestation inom egentligen vilket ämnesområde som helst. Har du lyckats ovanligt bra i musik, idrott, konst, ledarskap, entreprenörskap, då är det en merit som du kan söka med till oss. Det krävs att du har gjort det här under dina gymnasieår, alltså i parallellt med dina studier och att det ligger på en riktigt hög nivå. Du kan tänka ungefär som att det här är ingenting som någon annan 18-åring gör till vardags, lite så. Till exempel så gäller inte UF-företag som du gör inom ramen för ditt gymnasieprogram som särskild merit. Utan det ska vara någonting på en högre nivå och utanför dina gymnasiestudier. Ett exempel är till exempel inom idrott. Om du har tävlat i en sport, säg att du har tävlat för Sverige och vunnit en medalj. Då har du en sån särskild merit som du kan söka med. Då söker du med ett personligt brev och du beskriver din merit och du behöver också skicka med ett intyg med minst en referens som verifierar den här meriten. Och utöver din glimrande merit så behöver du ett jämförelsetal på minst 17 utan meritpoäng. Den sista sökvägen som vi har är alternativt urval. Och i alternativt urval så söker vi studenter specifikt intresserade av just Business and Economics-programmet eller Retail Management-programmet. För Business and Economics så har vi valt att kalla det här alternativa urvalsspåret för Against the Odds. Här söker vi studenter som har fått kämpa lite extra för att faktiskt nå till studenten. Du som kanske inte haft akademiskt stöd hemifrån eller du som har haft andra lite försvårande omständigheter under dina gymnasieår. Du har ändå nått fina betyg. Men du har haft det lite kämpigt och känner att det här är en väg för dig att nå dina drömmar och just komma in på Business and Economics. Då söker du med CV och motivationsbrev och vi kommer kalla dig till ett analytiskt test och en intervju. Detsamma gäller studenter som har sitt fokus på retail management. Då är alternativt urval till retail management en speciell väg för dig som brinner för retailsektorn. Du kanske redan har erfarenhet av branschen, du kanske har jobbat ett par år inom detaljhandeln, eller att du har drömmar och brinner för ämnesområdet och kanske tänker dig en karriär inom detaljhandelssektorn. Då är retail management alternativt urval en väg för dig. Det som gäller för båda programmen genom alternativt urval är ju att man ska söka just det programmet som sitt förstahandsval. Du får bara söka till ett av programmen och det är din drivkraft och din motivation och din passion för just det programmet som vi letar efter. CV, motivationsbrev och sen test och intervju. Och här är betygskravet också ett jämförelsetal på 17,0 utan meritpoäng. Återigen, mer information om alla de här sökvägarna finns på vår hemsida hhs.se/antagning. Tove, jag vet ju att du kom in på alternativt urval då för 2 år sedan. Vill du berätta lite om processen? Hur var det här med test och intervju och så?
Ja, precis. Så jag skulle väl säga att det är en ganska omfattande process egentligen, men den är uppdelad i flera steg. Så den blir ganska utdragen, vilket kan vara bra för att alltså jag var i alla fall så, som sagt första året jag sökte så sökte jag bara på betyg, men jag hade tänkt att söka alternativt urval, men jag kände inte att jag kunde lägga ner den tiden på liksom motivationsbrevet och ett analytiskt test och intervjun som jag ville. Men jag tycker det är skönt att den ändå är utspridd så att det kommer i olika delar så att du kan ändå, den kommer liksom inte allt på en gång. Men CV är ju egentligen bara att ta det CV som du har idag, se till så att det är uppdaterat med alla, om du har några nya erfarenheter. Och motivationsbrevet, där skulle jag bara säga att vara sig själv. Alltså det är ju det, skolan vill ju veta vem du är och se, ja men få lära känna dig på ett sätt, även om det är såklart är limiterat via ett brev. Men så bara vara sig själv. Nu med AI och allt, skriv det själv. Det märks tydligt på en text om det är AI-genererat eller inte, så visa verkligen vem du är genom att skriva det själv. Och det analytiska testet sen, om man går vidare till det steget, det är, jag brukar förklara det som vilket logiktest för ett jobb som helst. Nu kanske inte är jättemånga som har gjort det, men om man har gjort det så är det väldigt likt det. Så det handlar om ens verbala förmåga, så där kan man ju jämföra med orddelen i högskoleprovet typ. En numerisk förmåga och även ja men vilket mönster som kommer näst i en serie och sådana grejer. Och det kan man då antingen, det är online så man kan antingen göra det från valfri plats. Men eller när jag gjorde det i alla fall, så hade man även möjligheten att komma in till skolan och sitta på skolan och göra det. Och sen då så avslutas det med en personlig intervju. Och där är det då alltså en förinspelad intervju. Så frågorna spelas upp och sen får man en betänketid och sen har man visst antal minuter på sig att svara. Och då är det också bara egentligen att prata om sina erfarenheter och komma med verkliga typ exempel på när man exempelvis kanske har visat ledarskapsegenskaper och sådana grejer. Så där, mitt bästa tips för en personlig intervju är egentligen att försöka tänka igenom vad man har gjort i livet och ha det lite som en minnesbank. För det, när man har lite tidspress så kan det bli att man får lite hjärnsläpp ibland, även fast det är skönt med betänketid.
Tack Tove, det var väldigt bra och konkret beskrivet de olika stegen och hur processen ser ut och hur man kanske också kan förbereda sig lite grann om man vill det. Stort tack. Vi har några minuter kvar innan vi ska avsluta. Per, finns det några lite sådär generella ansökningsfrågor i chatten eller i Q&A som du vill lyfta innan vi avslutar?
Ja, men jag tror det kan vara bra att förtydliga där runt högskoleprovet som jag fått lite frågor om. Så du nämnde ju där Simon att vi kräver ju inte högskoleprovet längre, men man kan ju söka in med det och komma in den vägen om man har ett väldigt högt resultat. Men det var en fråga här om hur det funkar med jämförelsetalet då om man söker i den kvoten. Tas det med då? Ja.
Jag tror att frågeställaren undrar vad som händer med betygen.
Ja, exakt.
Ja. Och då är det så här att oavsett vilken utav de här tre sökvägarna du väljer så står du alltid kvar i betygskvoten. För det är som din grundplatta i din ansökning. Så den har du alltid. Så att du kan skicka in ett högskoleprovsresultat och sen kommer vi anta dig på det som du är bäst på så att säga. Så du konkurrerar aldrig med dig själv eller du behöver aldrig välja dina olika sökverktyg eller vad ska jag säga, det du söker med. Utan du står alltid kvar i betygskvoten även om du då skickar in till exempel ett högskoleprov eller en särskild merit. Så det där är ett bra förtydligande och jag vill också när vi ändå pratar om jämförelsetalet och betygen så är det ju självklart så att du kan komplettera och läsa upp dina betyg. Vi har studenter varje år som kommer in med kompletterade betyg. Man kan göra prövning om man saknar vissa kurser och du kan läsa upp dina betyg. Så att det går alldeles utmärkt. Så det vill vi också understryka, att det är inga konstigheter. Och det fungerar precis till oss som det gör till alla andra svenska universitet. Så det var en bra fråga som förtydligade det. Är det någonting annat du tänker att vi ska lyfta Per innan vi tackar för idag?
Nej, men det var bra att du nämnde komvux till exempel, för vi har fått en del frågor att kan man söka fast man inte har läst matte 3 och sedan plugga upp det? Man måste ha gjort det innan så att säga,
Ja.
men komvux går ju jättebra.
Komvux går alldeles utmärkt och du måste ha gjort det innan för du måste ju liksom ha alla de där kurserna för att vara behörig. Så då passar det väl bra att ta ett år och läsa upp kurser och då kan man passa på att läsa upp lite andra kurser också så man höjer sitt generella snitt. Lite så, tips från coachen.
Vi kan ta en sista fråga. Och där har ni ju nämnt både Tove och Simon då, men om man söker via alternativt urval, kommer ens betyg spela in då? Lite hur vi bedömer det i den här processen. Tove, du pratade om de olika delarna i det här och sen är ju betyget en del också. Simon, har du något bra svar på det? Hur man ska se på betyget där?
Ja, tyvärr är jag lite osäker. Det här skulle jag vilja lämna till antagningsexperterna. Så du måste ju ha dina minst 17,0 i ditt jämförelsetal. Och därefter är det ju egentligen de här andra delarna. Din drivkraft och din motivation och testresultaten och intervjun och så som är det som ska spela roll. Men jag vågar inte svara 100% på hur exakt det liksom räknas eller värderas. Så det skulle jag nog vilja att antagningsteamet svarar på.
Och vi kan väl säga så här generellt att både särskilda meriter och alternativt urval, även om särskilda meriter är lite tydligare med exakt vad man ska uppnått och så där, så är ju det här, vi har liksom ett holistiskt förhållningssätt, vilket betyder att vi tittar individuellt på varje ansökan och tittar på flera delar därför vi har personligt brev, testintervju och så vidare och betyget. Så att det kan ju skilja olika år exakt vilket betyg man behöver och något år kanske det är fler med något lägre betyg men ändå ovan 17,0 så att säga. Och sen kan det se olika ut ett annat år. Så att det beror helt på. Eftersom det har med motivation, drivkraft att göra så vägs ju det in mycket också. Så det är svårt att ge ett direkt svar att det här betyget behöver man ha för det kan också ändras olika år.
Ja, nej men det stämmer, så är det ju. Nej, men till dig som frågade om betyget i förhållande till alternativt urval, mejla till vårt antagningsteam. Per kan sätta mejladressen i chatten. Och de svarar alltid supersnabbt. Inom 24 timmar så har man svar från dem. Så att mejla dem just den specifika frågan, och så får jag be om ursäkt för att jag inte kunde ge ett direkt svar på det här och nu. Det börjar bli dags för oss att runda av. Som svensk student kan du alltså söka till hösten 2027 ytterligare några veckor. 15 april är deadline och du söker via antagning.se. Och igen, mer information finns såklart på vår hemsida och också om du mejlar antagningsteamet eller chattar med våra studenter på Unibuddy. Bara en sista, Tove och also Erina. One last kind of tips or inspiration or word on the way for the prospects in this webinar. What would you like to send with them? One last piece of advice. Do you want to start, Erina?
Sure, absolutely. I'm echoing a bit what I said earlier, but this is truly what I've said to students here and there. To be part of this process and to want to be part of the school, you are greatly ambitious, and of course, you are greatly talented and smart. Everyone around you here will be smart and outstanding and excellent. It is very important to take care of your well-being when you come into a new school and into a new chapter of your life. There is great support for that in the school. Make sure to prioritize yourself alongside with your studies. Excellence comes from you, not at you. And it's very important to keep that in the back of your mind.
Thank you. Beautiful, Erina. Tove, har du några sista vägledande ord till de som har lyssnat idag?
Ja, ska jag ta det på svenska eller engelska?
Swedish or English, I don't know. Let's do English then.
Yes. No, but I can just, I fully agree with everything Erina said. And the important aspect there goes back to what I mentioned about like focusing on yourself and your ambitions. Due to the fact that students are very ambitious, it can become a bit hectic, and that like you feel a need to compare yourself to others and compare your results with others, but just focus on yourself and your ambitions and what you want in your life, because you don't have to compare yourself to anyone else, because you only need to focus on what do you need to do what you want to do in your future.
Thank you. Very nice last words. Thank you so much for joining this session today. This was truly how we are at SSE, a mix of Swedish and international, all in one beautiful mix. We hope we inspired you, that we gave you some good answers, and that we will see you at SSE campus in the future. So good luck with your applications, and bye-bye.